In the previous video, what we did was created a simple title block and we copied and pasted it across into our Layout 1 tab. Now, I've left the drawing in the same state as it was at the end of the last video, where our title block does not fit our sheet in the Layout tab. Now, in order to make that work, what we need to do is make sure that we have set up a title block and a sheet that sit on top of each other, and they're not quite right at the moment. You can see that on the screen. So I'm in the Layout 1 tab. What I need to do is right-click on that Layout 1 tab. And what we're going to do there is go to the Page Setup Manager. Now, you'll notice when you open this up that the current layout is Layout 1. And that's the Layout 1 that's highlighted down here in the bottom left corner. And you'll notice that you've got asterisks in the Page Setups list. Now, what that means is that all we've got is the default setting for the Layout 1 tab, which, as you can see, doesn't tally up with our 420 by 297. In fact, it's the next sheet size down. It's an A4 sheet. So what we need to do is create a page setup that works with our title block. So I click on New. And we're going to call this A3, and then it's going to be in a landscape orientation. So we'll just call it A3-landscape. Now, what you might want to do is also specify the file type that you might output from this. So it might be an Autodesk DWF, it might be a PDF, and so on and so forth. Or you might put the printer name there or something like that. I'm actually going to call it DWF, like so, which is the Autodesk DWF file format. I'm going to click on OK there, and as you can see, it now takes me into a dialog box that looks remarkably like the standard AutoCAD print or plot dialog box. But we're setting up a page setup so that we can use these settings over and over again. Now, I've said DWF in the name of the page setup. So printer plotter, I might use something like the DWF6 ePlot printer configuration file. So let's do that first. Now, the paper size, we don't want A4, we want A3, that 420 by 297. So if I scroll up a bit, there's all my isometric A1, A2, A3. There's A3 420 by 297. So there it is there in the little preview. We're going to set it to extents there, like so, and we're going to center the plot over the A3 sheet of paper. Now, don't worry about these red lines on the preview. That's because we haven't set everything up yet. It's kind of telling you that it won't fit at the moment, but it will. Now, the plot scale is going to be 1:1 because our sheet is going to be 420 by 297, and our title block will also be 420 by 297. Now, plot style table, I'm just going to go with monochrome, black and white, for the moment. Don't worry too much about colors. And we want to make sure that our drawing orientation is set to landscape. Now, we can preview what this is going to look like. So click on preview. And as you can see there, the lines look a bit weird and wonderful at the moment. Just right click and exit that for the moment. And then click on OK. Because we haven't actually applied the page setup to the layout yet. We need to apply it. So there's our A3 landscape DWF. Select it, and if you double click on it, it will apply it to the layout tab. Now, what do you notice in the background? Can you see our orange lines there don't actually fit? Can you see that there? So what we've got to do is we've got to change that slightly, and it's really, really easy to do. So just click on Close there on the Page Setup Manager. Now, you'll remember when we copy and pasted these were just rectangles. So what I can do is I can delete this particular polyline. It's still on the title block layer, like so. I'm going to delete that one, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to offset, and I'm going to change the offset distance this time to 20 instead of 15. And this is a little bit of trial and error, but it's a good way of making sure that your title block works. So you select the outside edge, come inside and click again, and enter to finish. And now when you offset by 20, can you see our drawing border sits nicely inside those dashed printer limits? So what we've done now is we've defined a page setup that works. So that's our page setup, our A3 sheet and our A3 title block all ready to go.